let's talk about indicators. So I'll answer some questions I get on the topic. Talk about my opinions on it, what I use, answer some commonly asked questions. So the first thing is, I don't trade based on indicators. All right. This is the very first and most important thing to say. If I had price and volume on my chart and nothing else, I would trade the same. My entries would be slightly different, perhaps, because I'm pretty dependent on the 14 EMA when it comes to a lot of entries. I kind of have to see that and what goes on there. So my entries might be a little different, but that's it. I don't need indicators to trade. And, it's got to be said first. There's that. And if you have gone down that road, if you're wasting your time on that road, to stop wasting your time. Oscillators, moving average crossovers, EAs based on stochastics and all that stuff. Yeah, it works for a bit some days at times, and that could maybe hook you into thinking this is an easy way to make money. The tons of videos on YouTube showing these ridiculous, indicator combinations that are the golden combination, and they show you, a few days where it works, and they don't show you what happens when you use a moving average crossover method in a range and you get destroyed and you get 9 losses in a row, because that's exactly what's going to happen in a range. You buy at the top, you sell at the bottom, and you get destroyed, right? The idea of trading, being that ignorant based on some sort of oscillators or moving averages or whatever, I mean, that's all there is, right? Oscillators and moving averages. The dumbing down of price, the averaging out of price over time as some sort of extra great piece of information. It's not at all. Why would that be good? So it has its use and it's very limited. So it's better, you have to understand what's going on in the market, and that stuff's not going to help you understand, right? That's the only way that I've found that works. So let's cover what I have, knowing that, because people ask, what is that? Oh, you have a VSA indicator. I play around with indicators sometimes, and in the end, and the people that are with me in the live sessions will tell you, people that know my trades, I ignore them when I enter the trade. There are some uses that are limited. Again, I don't need them. So let's just, having said all that, let's go through my my extremely useful indicator. Having talked you out of using them at all, let's take a look. So what I have here is just something I've been looking at, which is, I have it set up to show me this blue diamond right here is showing me high volume. So anytime you have volume that's higher than the recent range, there's probably some moving average in there that I'm not seeing, I think, it's going to give me a dot. This way, if I'm looking at price and I see a dot, I don't have to, my eyes don't have to go back and forth. I know that there's high volume here compared to the recent range. The dots are above it. Big deal. You can see it down here anyway, right? Okay. It also gets kind of, annoying, or you have to ignore it when you're talking about, a quiet time of day, and then the volume's still low, but it's higher than the previous. So it's, these aren't high volume points that are getting pointed out here. But as you get into the session, it's a little more accurate, obviously, as telling you what's really high. And today, it's that so far, and so that's fine. Once we got really going, I guess. So there's that, and I'll show you what the indicator is if you want to use it, and also, very importantly, all the stuff that I turned off. Because if I turned all these on, right, the way the indicator is made, indicators, VSA version 6, then I would have dots and arrows and X's and diamonds and smiley faces on practically every candle, right? And, the idea of, there are candles, there are price areas that matter. There are certain things that you have an expectation to see something important at certain price levels, or certain events that can happen on the chart that are important. But the idea of going through bar by bar by bar, whether it's a 5-minute chart, a 4-hour chart, whatever, and trying to VSA-wise define what every single bar is telling you about the market right now, and you make some big conclusion. There are price areas that matter more than others. And there are times where it just doesn't matter right now. We're waiting to go this way or that way so we can find something out. And meanwhile, you're looking at this no supply right here or something, and it doesn't mean anything. Okay. And having those indicators all over the chart, you know what I'm talking about, these VSA indicators. Now, I just took a day and tried everything that's there for free in TradingView, including this one. It's there. It's free if you want to use it. You see what I have turned off and left on to show me basically high volume points. And, looking through the other indicators on TradingView, again, it's that stuff. It's like a lot of them I put on the chart and just immediately, nope, I'll move on to the next one. And I just wanted to go through them. But it was nice to find one that highlights high volume, and there's others and there's other things, but I turned them off. Okay, if you turn all these on, they're all over the place. Do what you want with it. What is also nice, and some people ask about now and then, is no supply, no demand indicator, which I could turn these on right here, and I have them as light blue, so they're not so intrusive, but they're going to show up all over the place because it's based on volume being lower than the previous two, which is the technical coding sort of version of finding a lack of supply. Now, this, of course, depends on what you're doing. Are you even testing for supply at that moment on the chart? So, whatever. You can have a situation where the volume is low, but it's not lower than previous two because two back is one that's really low, really, really low. But then you also have low, right? Whatever. So as long as volume's relatively low, the lower the better. You call that a lack of supply. The low supply, no supply, or no demand in an area where you're supposed to be finding out about these things, not just anywhere on the chart, which is a whole other lesson, and we talk about that. So if you want an indicator that does highlight that, and again, you're just looking at the chart saying whatever has this blue triangle that I made it a blue triangle, you can do whatever you want, is just telling me the volume's lower than the previous two. So I can kind of look at these now, an area that might matter, something going on, and know that these are high volume, this is low volume here. This is telling me, especially as we get to this. Now, why is there not an arrow on that one? I don't know. Because to me, that's an important piece of information showing, in this case, we're talking about no demand. So we have supply coming in. This is earlier today. It's not a time that I trade, but to use as an example. And the indicator showed high volume here. And then this, to me, is the most important. It's funny. It's the most important, no demand, and there's no triangle on it. So whatever. Right? Is volume lower than the previous two? I don't know why. Maybe it doesn't do two in a row. If it just keeps dropping, it stops. But the 14 EMA test on low volume tells me lack of demand is likely to continue. And that's the one that doesn't have the triangle. So that really proves my point. This one is way too high to be finding out about demand. This is high volume supply. That's what's going on in this price area, right? So you get my point. And again, if I turn on that other stuff, you'll have indicators all over the place. That's no good. Forget those, The idea of trading VSA, of trading supply demand with an indicator, when your brain is really required to understand these things. Okay, it's just a heads up, perhaps. There's something colorful on the chart, whatever. So that's that. People did ask about that, so now I have a video on it. Okay. And I'm going to turn this off. Okay. I like a clean chart. All right. So I'm going to keep going through everything that I have up here. Now, the two moving averages, I don't want to get all into that because then I'll be talking about in detail about my method for the next 3 hours. But the point is, the 14 EMA, 50 EMA, if you watch my videos, you already know what I use them for, particularly the 14 EMA. Really helps with entries and test areas and stuff like that. It's not a crossover telling me every time they cross, or any nonsense like that. That it's time to trade or anything like that. But to use moving averages as a support resistance, a floating, a dynamic support resistance, I think is useful. And again, here's just an example in this pattern. Forget the time of day and everything, but in this pattern, the 14 EMA test here is important. I use it on scalp entries and all that, which you may know. Okay, but that's taught in my other videos. Now, what else? Volume itself, I'm using something that gives you an option with some colors which I've really made more basic. There's different colors, but I just wanted to highlight. And again, I went through everything on indicators on TradingView. You get all these wacky colors. Looks like Skittles down here. Your volume indicator. It's just you can see it, and it's better for you to see it and have a rational thought that goes along with what you're seeing than just a color that tells you it's this and that's it. That's just silliness. The indicators are not that smart. So what I used here is a darker color. Well, I have a white background, so a darker color just to show me that volume is high. However, this indicator calculates that. So nothing fancy. This is an anti-indicator video, if you haven't caught on by now. Okay. I wish it was that easy, right? Hang back and wait for my stochastics alert to pop up and enter the trade. I don't even look at the chart. Put a 20 pip stop and a 20 pip target. All right, trading is easy. It's not that. It's a trap. Don't waste your time. All right. The anti-indicator indicator video. So there's that. What else to talk about? This is a trade I took. The most recent trade I took was off the. I haven't traded the Canadian dollar in a long time. Yesterday at this time we had high impact news for Canadian dollar. Hey, look, we got a sell climax on the indicator. All right. Would I have bought that anyway? Yes. So you have support from the previous day or whatever's back there. Let me go back. I just want to show this. We're in a range. We'll get back to the indicator. I think that pretty much covers it, though. What are these colorful things on the bottom? Nothing at all. It's a troll thing. This support, fake break, right, happened on news. It was high impact news for Canada at this time. And the background is prices ranging, and I'm not labeling it as accumulation or distribution. It's just sort of a range, which I can buy low and sell high when confirmed. So we did get that fake break pattern, of course, that I like. Anyone who was long got their stops hit. Anyone took the breakout trade to the downside, shorted on news, got their stops hit. And buyers got a large amount that they were able to buy at that low price. Now, very simple. There's a confirmation of strength, fake break pattern, closing up. Very basic stuff. Here's your low volume test, 14 EMA. I needed volume to drop. I was satisfied with this. Dollar CAD is kind of looks like it tests the 50 EMA a little more often than the others, and the 14's a little. It moves a little differently. I don't trade this pair very often at all, but as I was looking at the charts and not seeing anything, and then I see this, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was news for Canada today. I see what they're doing. So I took the long entry after this low volume confirmation here, especially this drop, made me confident. And moving above that, certainly by then you want to be in that. And there's the 14 EMA area that tells me where I want to see that lack of supply. So also the 50 EMA as well. So that doesn't hurt. If we had selling and rejection there, right, rather than low volume, then no trade. So that was the second of two trades that I took yesterday. So there's that, just to point that out if you're learning my method. And what indicators were involved in that, right? Price and volume. And a line showing me that it's a fake break pattern. And yeah, the 14 EMA helpful. If it wasn't there, I knew it's up here somewhere, right? Just want to see low volume after on a bit of a bounce. So that gives you an idea. I thought this guy was going to tell me of some magical indicator combination. That was no. And literally the stuff on the bottom, I don't know why it's even there. I like colors. I got to stare at this thing and I put the colors. It's similar to like the trade guide or stuff, which as far as the trade guide software, my opinion on that, if you want to know, since I trade similar to that sort of style, is it may be a learning tool for some time. If I know it's expensive, the software, so if that's not a big deal to you, paying that price and thinking that, okay, now I'm set because of the indicator system that I'm buying and whatever goes along with it. But The indicators are not going to say, okay, now you're going to finally get there because of the, this bar means this bar means this bar means this bar means this. That's not, that's the information I was missing, and now I got it. It's a learning tool. It's a temporary crutch. It's training wheels. You should get to the point, probably, if you're using any sort of ESA indicators that you think are helpful. The idea is to get to the point where you're smarter than the indicators. You know that this one's not really right and not really important, and this other one, okay, that one's dead on. But you know the difference, and if it wasn't there, you'd know anyway. And now you get to the point where you can remove it, and you can read the chart like you're reading a book. You're reading sheet music, all right? There's no cheat notes on it anymore. You can actually read it for what it is, right? So that we don't have any cheats on here. We just want to know what it is. The raw data is good. That's what we want. Okay. So that covers indicators. What else? I think that's it. So again, I stuck to my plan of making a video Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just before London Open, answering questions I get, showing a trade I took here. Following up on the last video that I was saying I was bearish, I didn't go short. So it's been a couple of days this week of, well, the background suggests I'm looking for one thing, but as we're getting into the session and seeing how things are behaving, it's not that opportunity that I was looking for based on the background is not showing up. And my second method, which is scalping in any direction, forget the background, is getting me into trades. Is saying, so again, in this example, we have a very strong downtrend. We're looking for a weakness to get in short, right? Very simple redistribution. And what happened was, as price was moving up, I won't get into all the details. With 5 minute, you could see supply was not showing up. Sellers were not showing up. It was so extreme, and we saw this real time during the live session, and realizing it's so extreme, the lack of selling, that we're actually bullish, at least for the short term. Never mind the downtrend to the left. We're now bullish until further notice. So it's been that sort of thing. And if you went short yesterday here, you're stuck, or you hit your stop, right? But supply never showed up and never told us to be going short. If you look at the 5 minute, if you study my videos, you'll see that the weakness just not coming in at key areas and stuff. And it took a little long scalp on the euro dollar, but that was it. I didn't want to chase price and keep buying high yesterday, into London Open, into these high prices. And then, Canada, the news came out, and that gave me a nice trade off of that. So it's really take it as it comes. Like today, now what? We had a lot of volume in this chop with no result. It's really going into today and after what we've seen the last couple of days, which has been very tricky if you don't know what you're doing. We're seeing in real time, just talking about how tricky this is. Like, we're expecting one thing, and then now we're seeing the exact opposite. And we have to change our expectations, our outlook, at least in the short term, and go with that. And scratch the original plan of, let's say, selling yesterday on the euro dollar, right? So it's a little tricky, but if you're disciplined and you're understanding, you're learning what's going on, you see this stuff. Now, going into today, Thursday, January 20th, I have to take it as it comes. Who knows? At this point, I'm dropping the plan because I've been doing better off just scratching the plan and believing my eyes and saying, no, it's something else today, and going with that. And it's been working because the chart says so, and I listen to it and believe it. So, once things start moving around today into the London Open session and start, maybe go a little higher or lower than the Asia range and start giving us some information, then I'll go with what I'm seeing. I'm not married to any particular direction or background at this point. The market goes through moods. This is a mood of, especially pre-New York Open, not really giving a crap about the background. You can have a bearish environment and it's floating up and floating up, but the thing is, you're not even seeing weakness come in, and that goes on for 5-6 hours. The market's just in this mood right now. So that's another thing that indicators and EAs are not going to pick up on. There, we brought it all back to the beginning. All right, guys. So Hopefully that's helpful, answers those questions. And I'll keep just making hopefully helpful videos Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday prior to London Open. You can join the live sessions. If you want to just join the live sessions for a day, hey, Pete, can I join? Ask some questions, see what you do. Just email me. The link is in the description for the website, which you can contact me and join a live session at no charge. They're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 30 minutes into the London session. So if you want to just join, if you're learning, that's fine. I'm here to help. That's it. Like the video. Let me know if you like it. I do care. I do like to see that. Let me know if you like it. Subscribe. Do the notifications so you know my videos are up. All that YouTube-y talk you say at the end of the video. Smash the like button in the face. Polarize it. All right, guys. Have a good one. Till next time.